So in getting ready for a session, we need to make sure that we can get good range. How do we establish that range? By attacking areas of tightness with a mod ball or something like a foam roller. So by taking these, putting them into, say for example, mid-trap or anterior delts or pec, it will mean that we can create a sliding, gliding surface and establish better range of motion, i.e. when we're going into overhead positions or if we're trying to get into full shoulder extension.
One option as seen here is to roll directly onto the muscle, or alternatively you can choose to pin the muscle down and mobilize the joint around it, i.e. move your arm or pec through a range of motion, thus pulling the fibers of the muscle through.
Also with desk-based jobs, we can find ourselves getting stuck into these internally rotated kyphotic positions. So what we are trying to do is establish this range, putting everything back to where it is. One of the main culprits of that is this lat, this large muscle here, the wing. So by rolling up and down, search and destroy, finding those spots which are tight or a bit gristly, and then just working through just to try and establish good range, getting the local temperature up and getting that, restoring the sliding, gliding surfaces of that muscle. It should feel like fillet steak, not like beef jerky. Shoulders are really important for our movement and our movement preparation. One thing that we can do to prep our shoulders effectively is shoulder external rotation. We do this with Scapula Wall Slide. The main things we're looking for is lower back being pushed into the wall, tucking our tailbone underneath our pelvis. From here, our elbows will go out to the side, 90 degrees. If we can, we're looking to get the backs of our hands flat against the wall. This motion might be enough for you, so work externally in this motion. If that starts to feel easier, what we can do is keep our hands placed against the wall and drive up into a Y position. This is a really effective motion for training the scapula and keeping a healthy shoulder. Continuing with scapular control, what we can look to do is by shortening the lever length, so we're on all fours, arms stay nice and straight. Now we're thinking about keeping arms straight and dropping all the way down, shoulder blades touch. When we get to that bottom position, we're driving up, past neutral. Now the shoulder blades are parting, so we're trying to create as much space as possible between them. As we drop down, back through neutral, shoulder blades touch. Driving back up, shoulder blades part. In order to make this harder, we could go into a full plank or push-up position. This would then increase that lever length. So when we're looking to train the back and train the scapula, a YTW is a really effective tool, putting the shoulder and the scapula through several planes of motion. Here we're going to go keep the neck nice and neutral, and we're going to keep arms straight whilst generating tension. That is your Y position. From here we're going to go out to the side to a T, nice, and then into a W. In this W position, what we're looking to do is get the elbows down, thumbs up, and we're going to cycle through. YTW is 1 rep. Now that we've been through the preparation phase, what we need to start doing is start activating the muscles that we're going to be using during the session. One of the best ways to do this is a banded dislocate or shoulder flexion into extension. What we're going to do is move through this exercise without any popping, grinding or any pain or discomfort. What we're trying to do is move through this quite slowly and smoothly.
The main thing to consider when performing this exercise is taking a wide enough grip not to make it too challenging.
Once you've been able to do this quite progressively with a band, you can move to something like a PVC pipe. The good thing about a PVC pipe is that there's still a bit of flexibility to it, but it challenges you more than the band because now you are having to move rather than the band. Making sure that when you're taking hold of the bands or the PVC pipe that you've got a good grip using the thumb and the index finger. The tendency is to cheat by lifting the finger off the end. An effective way to train the back is something called a band pull apart. What we're looking to do is set the scapula or your shoulder blades together by pulling the shoulder blades back and down whilst retracting the band. We're working on hand balancing. The first thing that we're going to look at is the frog stand. The main thing we're thinking about is driving into the ground using our fingertips and pointing elbows backwards, thus screwing the shoulder in. From here, what we can think about doing is taking the elbow and putting it into the crook of the knee by leaning forwards, keeping 1 foot or 2 feet on the ground and finding our balance point, getting strong in these positions. If that starts to feel good, take 1 foot off or even 2 feet. As we start to get more and more confident, what we're trying to do is increase that time on our hands. The other way to do that is increase the level of difficulty. We do that by taking both knees off.
As with any of the frog stand progressions, we're aiming to build strength and not lose height or angle at the shoulder when taking a knee or both knees off. Build strength and get comfortable in these positions.
So in order to get better at vertical pushing strength, one thing we can utilise is something called a pike push-up. So unlike a conventional push-up, this is where your bum is now going to be higher than your head. You'll find that this becomes a lot more difficult than a conventional push-up. One thing we can do to make this easier is by controlling the eccentric all the way down and then making it easier on the way back up, the concentric. So in this position, Amelia's going to take her bum, so working that hamstring mobility. Her head's going to dive forward in front of her palms. When it gets hard, drop the knees, push back to the top. From here, bum goes back in the air and control that eccentric once again. As you start to get better in these positions, work that concentric strength as well. Keeping the bum nice and high, elbows pointing back. Making sure to finish the rep with elbows and head between bicep. Once conventional pike push-ups become easy, we can then increase the range of motion which we have to travel through. By using something like a parallette, we can still keep that bum high and then dive through a greater range of motion. For example,
don't worry if you don't have parallettes. You can increase the amount of range that you're able to push through by using a couple of yoga blocks or even some books that are around the house.
Ensuring staying active through that shoulder the whole time, engaging and keeping the triceps nice and tight, elbows tucked towards the sides.
And finally, we're adding direct volume to the triceps. This can be done progressively over a greater range of motion using anything from a pair of parallettes to a coffee table. With these rings, you'll see there is far more instability, making them a lot more challenging.
There we have a push focused session that you can be doing at home with little or no equipment. Please let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see in the future and how I can help you further.